speed, the heights. It's just exciting, you know?
These mountain bikes really expand the horizons and our opportunities to jump bigger jumps, bigger drops. The 8 inches of suspension will really allow you to almost run over anything.
Drop zone is 4 different alleys with multiple jumps ranging from 5 to 14 feet minimum. These bikes have evolved in the last 5 years, so I want to keep up with the evolution of the bikes, and this is what it comes down to.
They weigh usually between like 35 to 50 pounds. It's basically a motorcycle without an engine. You have a lot more control than you would think riding a bike like this.
It's very similar feeling to snowboarding or skiing in powder until you crash.
I see a growth, and all the magazines say how much this sport is growing. The free ride downhill, dirt jumping, and I hope we'll have it all in a couple years.
You're basically riding along and the ground just drops away from under you. It's kind of like going off a cliff on your skis or your snowboard.
They're like, wow, how exciting, thrilling, it's just something they really want.
And you can push yourself, you just let off the brakes and you start scaring yourself, and that's pretty fun.
I like to see the smiles on everybody's faces. All the other resorts around have kind of not made it happen for them, and I wanted to do that.
It could get too popular if we limit it to only what we have now, which is still a vast improvement from what we had before.
I'm just on cloud 9 since Friday. Everybody's happy, and I like the buzz.
Baseball's always been a part of my life. The passion kind of changed from taking people to games to taking them to Bees Ballpark Museum. I like to think of it as being the, quote, Cooperstown of the West. It's the one and only baseball museum dedicated to ballparks. No 2 visitors to the museum look or talk about the same thing. I had a vision of my perfect paradise, and of course it was in a ballpark. It was like, that's what's going to be in my basement. I have a cornerstone from Old Shibe Park in Philadelphia, the light fixtures from the rotunda at Ebbets Field. Anything that I can get that is unique to a ballpark, and the signage and things like that are just really, really challenging, but they're so visual. They're awesome display pieces and memories. That's one of the great things about baseball and ballparks, is it brings you back so much to your youth and childhood. I'm always astonished when I have people come over here and the memories they talk about that happened 50, 60, 70 years ago, they could remember them so vividly, so it's just not me. For all I know, I could have sat in that seat. That was the first Major League game I ever saw in my life, and that was back in 1962. And Harmon Killebrew of the Minnesota Twins back then hit 2 homers on that day. Like most every memory I have of baseball, I can recall them in an instant. That is what an old ballpark is all about. One of the things that makes this museum so fun is that you're seeing things and attributes of the game and the ballparks that will never be reproduced, in my opinion. But baseball is timeless. And it's timeless from the sense that when I walk into this museum or walk into Tiger Stadium or you name it, I feel like I'm 10 years old again. And I'll tell you, I can't think of anything that has that power like baseball does.
It's a pleasure to go to work. Your job is, we're getting paid to have fun, to almost have a hobby. And it's a very serious hobby, but it's something that everybody on the team really enjoys. There's a lot of pressure. We're under time constraints. We only have 75 minutes from when we get the car back in the pit to have it ready to go and make another run.
We have approximately 7 guys who work on the vehicle. We work in pretty close confined pretty easy to bump into one another, and when I take the clutch out, it's approximately 550 degrees. So we don't want to bump into anybody. It tends to take the skin right off. It takes approximately 11 minutes to have the car from backed into the pit to tore down 100%. Everybody knows what they're doing. They've all done their job for well over a year, so they know what parts and pieces need to come off in what order.
All works like a machine. It just have to flow together. Like nobody's out of sync. It just rotates and we get through it.
A lot of people are very amazed at the organized chaos that goes on around this car. We work every day at trying to make everything faster. There are teams out here that are a lot faster than we are. Everybody out here is really good on what they do.
End of the day, good day for me is the race car's in one piece, driver's safe, all the crew guys are safe, and we ran real good.
It's just a beautiful, wonderful feeling. The grass, being able to smell, especially in the morning when after it's just watered, and to be part of the scenery and be part of the landscape.
Wonderful, wonderful. I want you to line up with your sternum.
Golf for Fun is a program, and our mission is to get disabled persons back on the golf course.
Bring it back to the ball. All right.
I know from experience, you do get kind of isolated at home.
That one was outstanding. It got in the air. Our goal is not to make, Tiger Woods out of them, but for them to have a good time. When they see someone who has more handicap than they do, they say, hey, he does pretty well. Then that inspires them to do their best. And that's, it's part of it.
I love it. I was hurt when I was 17 years old and never had a chance to play golf. So I compete in a lot of sports, but there's nothing like golf. Very demanding. It's very difficult. And I enjoy this as much as I've enjoyed any sport that I've ever played. Nice if it went in. Oh. Because of this cart, I can keep up with anybody. This cart will go right to your ball. I'm not slowing down play at all. As a matter of fact, many of the golf pros wish that everybody had a cart like this. Oh, oh well, close. This is a sport that we can compete with and play with able-bodied friends, co-workers, neighbors, and there aren't many other sports that you can do that with. My dad is an avid golfer. What I really wanted to be able to do was to play golf with him at least once together. We were never able to do that, but now I can play with my kids and my wife, and it makes it wonderful to be able to have the family out together. Golf is an amazing sport, an amazing game. You think you've got it, and then you don't. I mean, when I played basketball, or when I did track and field events, you practice, 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 and then you can normally do the same thing every time. But in golf, it doesn't matter. It's just so much fun because it's so different every time you go out and play. It's just a wonderful feeling.
Hey Cam, you okay? Oh, sure, fine. Just fell down's all.
Anytime you start off on a campaign, you hope that people will notice. This one had all the makings of a really cool campaign.
This is why I play this game, boys.
I wanted to create a sort of sense of community within the bubble and camaraderie and community within that, and so I treated it like it was a real world. Sort of like that.
Still got that shot, Tin Man? Let's see it!
This is the animation department, and this is where the animators work, basically drawing the various little mouths and things. And then the line drawings come over here and get scanned and digitized and put into the computer. You know, the thing that's so nice about the computers is they allow us to make these guys believable.
Punk. Don't go to the light, Tony! Oh. Tony!
It's like a facial for the little hockey players. She works in there and kind of moves things around and gets them all kind of flustered and stuff. I'm hitting you. Why are you hitting me with this stick? Oh, ah, oh,
You cannot hit me, Mr. Sissy Pants!
It gets dangerous once you go deep into that world because, you know, sometimes I've gone a little too deep and it gets a little hard to come back out.
Allow me to introduce the new commissioner of the Bubble Boys Hockey League, Wayne!
You idiot, don't you know who he is?
He is Wayne!
Absolutely fabulous to have somebody like Wayne Gretzky get on the ice with these little guys.
Where is he? He is behind the net again!
I sort of had to continually pinch myself when he finally showed up on the ice. I think once Wayne caught on to what we were doing, he was terrific. I mean, it was incredible to watch him. I got chills the first time he skated up and I was on the camera and he fired that slap shot right at the lens. They're intelligent, and that gives them depth and makes them fun to watch. And so it doesn't surprise me at all that people like these things.
Getting me an agent, and I'm jumping ship to the NHL.
Murph, you are exactly 3 inches tall.
I'm a bubble boy. I've always been a bubble boy, and I'll always be a bubble boy.
My name is Angel Sealing, and I race the Team Winston Pro Stock Suzuki. I started racing dirt bikes, motocross racing when I was 6 years old. It was a family thing. It was something we did every weekend. Get home from school on Fridays, jump in the motorhome, and go to the motocross races. My name's Angel in French, so now you have an angel on your shoulder. When I'm not racing bikes, I'm either riding them or talking about them or watching them. My life is consumed with motorcycles. Hi. This is a 1500cc Suzuki. It's called a Pro Stock bike because it's supposed to resemble a street bike, but there's nothing stock about it. It's got 300 horsepower, does 188 miles an hour and a quarter, and pulls 3 Gs off the starting line. It's very, very fast and very, very fun. That bike is about 495 pounds. I'm 105. Together we weigh 600, which is the legal limit. Everyone thinks I have an advantage because I'm the smallest driver out there, and they think that I weigh less, but actually we all weigh the same, 600 pounds. There are a lot of girls that would like to do what I'm doing, just for some reason, one reason or another, aren't doing what I'm doing. Right now I'm the only one racing. The guys that I race, for the most part, they're supportive and professional and friendly, but then there's that couple that really wish that I would just go back to the kitchen. But not a chance, I'm here to stay. A lot of people, you know, they ask me, are you a rider or a driver? I'm definitely a driver, because someone who rides in the back is a rider. I'm operating this machine, you know, I'm in control of what's happening, I'm driving it. It's one bad ride, it's my favorite motorcycle in the whole world, and I'm the very fortunate driver.